Good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. And this is Live Talk. I am Kip Stube.
And I'm Jonga Kandemiri.
We'd like to inform our listeners that because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we're not able to give you our usual show, and you will not be able to call in since we are broadcasting from our homes.
Thanks for joining us. You are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk, Diaspora Forum. This evening, we are discussing about the rise in COVID-19 cases in the country, the Omicron variant, and the issue of permits for Zimbabweans in South Africa.
But first, the Ministry of Health reported yesterday that 5 people died of COVID-19, while 4,031 others tested positive. As at 7 December 2021, Zimbabwe had 145,632 confirmed cases, including 129,006 recoveries and 4,718 deaths.
To date, a total of 3,896,589 people have had their first doses against COVID-19, while 2,910,953 received their second doses.
And we are also talking about a meeting that was held yesterday between the Zimbabwe community in South Africa and the South African Deputy President David Mabuza, where they discussed the issue of expiring Zimbabwe accession papers and what the South African government can do to help the affected people.
Let's talk. We are going to be joined by our guests who we are going to introduce shortly. But totanga tambotarisa nekukurukura nerurimi rwaamai zvatiri kutaura nhasi muchirongwa Diaspora Forum Live Talk uri musi wechitatu 8 Zvita 2021. Nhasi tiri kutarisa nezvenyaya yedenda reCovid-19 rarura munyika. Tinoona kuti nezuro chete vanhu 5 vakafa neCovid-19. Vamwe vanokwana kuita zviuru 431 4031 vakawanikwa vaine utachiwana kana kuti denda irori. Zvasiya vanhu vabatwa nedenda irori kubva patanga chirwere munyika vasvika pa 145,632 kana kuti zviuru 145 nemazana 632. Kuchiti vanhu vafa neCovid-19 kusvika pari nhasi vave zviuru 4 nemazana 810 nevasere 4,718. Ipapo tiri kuona hurumende iri kukurudzira veruzhinji kuti vabaiwe, asi zviri kunzi vanhu vari kuita nhano pfupi panyaya yekuenda kunobaiwa. Zvaita kuti vanhu vanokwana kuita mamiliyoni 3 nemazana 900 ezviuru 26 vabaiwa. Nhomba yekutanga 3.8, tingangoti vakusvika pa 3.9 million vabaiwa first dose. Vamwe vanokwana kuita 2.9 vachibaiwa nhomba yepiri. Zvino zvinotokurudzirwa kuti vanhu vabaiwe nhomba 2 kuitira kuti unge uchikwanisa kudzivirirwa zvakasimba. Tiri kuona kuti danho irori raakuti nonokei pachitariswa zvazvichitarisirwa nehurumende kuti panopera gore vanhu vanokwana kuita 10 million vanofanira kunge vabaiwa kana kuti zvikamu 60 kubva muzana. Takanzwawo nezuro pamusangano wakaitwa wemakurukota pachiburiswa chisungo chekuti vanenge vasina kubaiwa nhomba yeCovid-19 mazuva mashoma ari kuteera vanogona kukundikana kupinda mumabhazi. Those without COVID-19 vaccinations won't be allowed to get into public transport. Ndo imwe move iri kunzi iri kuda kuitwa kana umwe urongwa uda kuitwa nehurumende. Ndo nyaya dzatiri kukurukura tichionawo kuti iro denda reCovid-19 riri kubata zvakadii vana veZimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika vari kuda kuenda kumusha munguva ino yekisimusi. Tichakurukurawo pamusangano wakaitwa nesangano reZimbabwe Community in South Africa neutungamiri weSouth Africa hurumende, mutevedzeri wemutungamiri weSouth Africa waDavid Mabuza pamwe nemamwe madzishe nevamwe vakuru muhurumende panyaya yemagwaro eZimbabwe exemption permits, kuti vaone kuti zvii zvingaitwa, inzira dzipi dzingashandiswa kuti magwaro iwayo anga achivhurwa kuti anga achishanda zvakare kana kuti vana veZimbabwe vawaniswe dzimwe nzira dzokuti vange vachigara muSouth Africa zviri pamutemo. Ndo nyaya dzatiri kukurukura nhasi Gibbs.
Kunjalo-ke khonokho-ke okwethulwa nguJonga. Lamhla-ke ku-Diaspora Forum sikhangela kakhonokho-ke okwe-COVID-19. Siyakwazi ukuthi Omicron imkhakha omutsha lo unganuthwalise nzima abantu kwele Zimbabwe. Uhlangothi lwezempilakahle lubika ukuthi kulabantu 5 ababulewe umkhuhlane lo izolo. Kuthi-ke abayi-4,031 ngabantu abahlolwe batholakala belegciwane le-COVID-19. Ngesikhathi esifanayo bathole abantu abayi-40 asebephephe kumkhuhlane lo. Nxa sikhangela kusukisela nyakenye sokulabantu 4,718 asebabulawa yi-COVID-19 phakathi kwabantu abayi-145,632 abathapha igciwane le-COVID-19. Asebaphepha umkhuhlane lo bafika 129,006. Kuzokuthi ama-active cases khona manje abantu abahambahambayo kodwa belomkhuhlane lo bafika 11,908. Kwesekusithi-ke asebehlatshwe ijekiseni yakuqala yokuzivikela umkhuhlane we-COVID-19 bayi-3,896,589. Asebehlatshwe ijekiseni yesibili bayi-2,910,553. Zaphinda njalo khonapho 2,910,953. So abahlatshwe izolo ijekiseni yakuqala bafika 14,334. Kwesekusithi abahlatshwe ijekiseni yesibili bayi-18,587. So kukhanya-ke kunjalo njalo uhlangothi lolu lwezempilakahle lukhuthaza abantu ukuthi bahlatshwe amajekiseni lawa, bagqoke ama-mask njalo bayenze lokho kuthiwa i-social distancing. Ngesikhathi esifanayo bageze izandla besebenzisa amanzi alesepa kumbe ama-sanitizers. So-ke kunjalo khonokho kwethulwa ngabantu. So-ke I guess you had an interview with Dr. Matsorera. Maybe you can talk about this, Tonga.
Yes, Gibbs, I had an interview with Dr. Henry Matsorera about the rise in COVID-19 cases and deaths and the discovery of Omicron variant in Zimbabwe, and also the announcement by Health Minister and Deputy President Constantino Chiwenga that the fourth wave is in the country. So I spoke with Dr. Matsorera. Dr. Henry Matsorera is a former Minister of Health and is the MDC Alliance Secretary for Health. Gibbs.
Yes, let's listen to this interview that you did.
Saka vanhu vanofana kuchenjerera. Chokutanga chandoda kukurudzira vanhu ndechekuti izvo ngavazive kuti izvo vhairasi riri pano ratouya, manhamba acharamba achiwedzereka. Chasara ndechekuti titore matanho kuti tione kuti utano hwedu huri right.
Matanho apa amuri kukurudzira kuti vanhu vatore matanho iwani?
Rokutanga nderekuti vasina kubaiwa nhomba ngavabaiwe, vasina kupedzisa kubaiwa yechipiri ngavapedzise. Vaccination yakanyanya kukosha nyange tova pakati peepidemic pewave asi kubaiwa nhomba kwakakosha. Chechipiri matanho edu social measures atagara tichitaura, social distancing kana timire ngatimire kure umwe naumwe, kugeza maoko nemvura nesipo kana kusanitiza nealcohol, nyaya yekupfeka mamask in public spaces, nyaya yekugara kuzvikora dzedu kana tisina kamaita count nemvura neavoida macrowds, nyaya yekuavoida masuper spreaders akaita semafunerals, michato nezvimwe zvakadero. Mapati ngaaite mashoma nguva ino. Mapati kumwa doro, munhu tora doro rako unonwira kumba usanwire kubhawa, ndo zvimwe zvezvinhu zvatingangoite. Ngatisakanganwa kugara mudzimba dziri well ventilated, mhepo ichifufuta ichitiza neutachiona, zvinotibetsera izvozvo.
Tiri kunzwawo kuti pari zvino kunenge kune dzihwa riri kutenderera. Ungave munongedzo here weiyo Omicron yatiri kutaura nezvayo?
Ipapo handizivi, asi ndofunga ini kuti inongori flu iri kungomhanyawo iri yega iri parallel Omicron. Asi tichamirira tinzwi vanoita ongororo dzacho, nokuti hatikwanisi kuita COVID testing pamunhu wese anouya ane flu. Zvinotidhurei kudhurira vanhu. Saka titomirira kuti hurumende tiitire kasikati kuona kuti flu iyi yakamira sei. Asi vashoma vamwe vandakambotesta waenda kaona vari negative band. Sembuli yacho yakanyanya kuita diki, ngatiite big study tione kuti flu yakamira sei.
Mishonga ipi ingakurudzirwa kuti vanhu vanenge vachidziya muviri kana kuti vanofungidzira kuti vangadai vane flu idzodzi vange vachinwa?
Kurudziro yandinoziva ini ndeyekutanga kukurudzira kuti kana temperature yakakwira vanhu ngavana paracetamol. Paracetamol inodzikisa temperature. Temperature pachayo inoita kuti ugare kudarika zvauri. Pachayo chotori chirwere, saka haidzikiswezve. Munhu unotozwa kufefeterwa kana temperature yadzikiswa. Saka I think paracetamol yangonaka. Zvangonaka ungoavoida imwe mishonga. Ndakwana pakutanga kwepandemic yedu yeCovid vaidiscourage vanhu kumwa zvinhu zvakaita sana ibuprofen kana brufen vaya nemwe zvakadero, but ndifunga kuti panorambidzwa kuti munhu uno paracetamol kudzikisa temperature.
Mashoko amungasiyira vateereri?
Shoko guru zero aterere kuti tatova pakati pe4th wave sekuona kwedu ngati ite titore matanho ese kudzivirira atichadi vanokufa neCovid-19.
There you are, Jonga. So you can tell listeners what Dr. Madzorera is saying there.
Well, thank you, Gibbs. Dr. Madzorera was advising people that the virus is amongst us, and those who are yet to get vaccinated, they should do so immediately. And those who are hesitant to get their second dose, they should also do so. He advised that people should continue washing their hands, sanitizing, avoid gatherings, and also making sure that people don't just go to weddings, funerals, and all that. You know, in our African culture, sometimes you say, if I don't go to so-and-so's funeral, what will the public say about that? Or my neighbors or relatives, what will they say about that? I think it's time for people to consider that. And he also reminded people that we are in the middle of the 4th wave.
Yes, Jonga. So there are some people who are actually directly affected by COVID-19. And one of them is a gentleman who lives in Bulawayo. He is stranded right now in terms of, his family. So he was talking to Ezra Chisaspanda about his predicament. So he told Ezra Chisaspanda that he was evicted by his wife because he no longer has money. And Ezra tried to talk to the wife, and he couldn't manage to get hold of the wife. So let's listen to what Mr. Mlotshwa is saying about his life due to COVID-19. He is really, really a sad man. So let's listen to this interview.
Into ezithi ngihawula isituation ezivalayo ngenxa yethiwa i-COVID-19 iyedala ukuhlupheka asakwanisi one amakhampani seyavalwa asakwanisi senze into ezizifunayo ngapha nxa sithi ngiyedinga umsebenzi mbe South Africa mbe Botswana mbe Zambia asakwanisi ngenxa yesituation
ubusebenza ngapho wena
mina ngisebenza eternal fiber cement kodwa manje ngangiyi-temporary and after that wathi umsebenzi wami uphelele so isikhathi sami ngicabanga ukuthi ngesouth wathi sofakweni umgani
lockdown
lockdown asakwanisa ukuthi ngikwanise khona kwangifuna
lo
unkosikazi ndani labantwana abangu-2 lola ngelihle
ngoba gcinayo
lona okuzula angikwanisi ukubagcina mina sebezibigcina ngabanye baba abangabazalanga bengabantu abami
obaba bakhona bangena njalo emzini wakho uyabacela
ambaceli bathandana labomama abantu abami
onkosikazi lapha secine shita wala mali
yes of course
sekhombile
mbuselo zvelo moyo umntwana
lenye indoda
ye
ngenxa ukuthi unaswela
mina miswela kodwa abantu abami uyabathanda mina kodwa i-lockdown leyi eyenzakalayo leyi iyenze ukuthi iyasibisele emuva
kodwa phela owakho lo nkosikazi vele ukuthi into engakuthanda ukuthi nxa ungasela manje sekuchiya
I know, even though I can say that I can there's umuntu lo muntu lo awusena into enginceda ngayo but kodwa mina ngibongani and
lo ndodo okhona uyakhala abantu bakho
nguye osekhangela abantu abami
wena ukhangelwa mbani
mina ngihlala logogo
lalihlala logogo ubuzohlala ugogo wena
kangisebenzi
indlu ngagogo leya
indlu ngagogo owami and
abantwana babezokubona kodwa
babuya bezombona abantwana
ubenzeleni
khona ngiyaqinisa ndikale amabhondi abengilawo ngela mali ukuthi ngathola yona late bond amabhondi yami ngwatholile mntwana thatha nakho ngilapho mina ngoba bakho kodwa angikwanisi ukuthi ngikwenzele okuningi
ngoko sokuphelile
sokuphelile
ubona ngani uzenzani uzaphila ngani
mina angikwazi lockdown izaphela nini kodwa mina ngicela ukuthi into engiyicelayo upresident lo vice president Emerson Tambuzo mna ngakho manje lo comrade wethu wamasotsha owe-health and ukuthi ngabasincedisa besizwele bengathi bengezwa into eziphuma ngathi e-South Africa le kuyikho okufikela khona izikepe ofika kwamafula amathina thina lapha kule nto ezifikayo kithi ngapha i-COVID nxa kuthiwa ikhona ngale e-South Africa ngoba e-South Africa kulamachina ama-Nigeria emhlobo yabantu abasuka khona ngale endaweni eziningi thina lapha umuntu esingamthola litonga kuphela abakhona basuka eFolosi lethu kuphela yiyo mothiwa ngama-foreigners ngale South Africa uhlangane imhlobo lemhlobo olomhlobo ongotholiyo
so yiko kuya khona imikhuhlane
yiko kuvela khona esikepe kusibone lapha sibuya sideliver akula ingeke sifikele South Africa ofuna ukusuka eNigeria ofike ngeSouth Africa ofuna ukusuka eTanzania hambe South Africa ofuna ufika ngaphi ufikele South Africa kwabala yiko ufika khona imikhuhlane ngaba bengavala amabhoda sebaphambanise thina abantwana.
There are Jonga. So Mr. Mlochwa is a very, very bitter man. He's saying he has lost his wife, one. And secondly, you know, he's now living with his grandmother because his wife has actually abandoned him. As I indicated, you know, as a Jesus Spanda, I attempted to talk to the wife, but it was a bit hard for him to do that. So then he says he's failing to support his kids and he's now living with the grandmother. Sometimes he lives on the streets and he's really finding it difficult to eke out a living. So according to him, you know, sometimes he gets a bit of money here and there for his two kids, but life is very, very tough. So he's appealing for help and he's saying maybe COVID is just a myth, you know, because he hasn't seen people having COVID. And he says mostly it could be in South Africa because there's a port there and there's so many people that are coming through from Nigeria, from Asia and other countries, people who converge in South Africa. He says keep COVID there, not in Zim. So he's very adamant, you know, about that kind of effect. So there you are. Yeah.
Yeah, inguwa yakaoma Gibson utiri kunzwawo zvakare kuti imwe munguva yeCovid iyoyi mune kusavirirana kudikitika kwakanyanya mudzimba. Vazhinji vanotarisira kuti kungonetsana kunenge kuchiitika mudzimba ndavana baba vanenge vachinetsa madzimai apo tanzwa mudzimai ndiye atodzinga murume pamba, murume atosiya musha nokuti vanetsana nekusanzwisana. Chandisina kunzwisisa ndechekuti baba vanga vaita COVID here kuti vazosiyana naamai.
No, in fact, it's because he says he didn't have money anymore. So he had to leave the household and let the woman look after herself and her kids. So he says right now she's got another person that she's seeing at home. And he says, well, that's what life is all about. But he's a totally heartbroken man. And he says, you know, life is very unfair. He used to work at Tenel in Bulawayo. That was a very big company. And then when he tried to go to South Africa, he was told, you know, the borders are closed and he couldn't go there. So he says he's finding life very tough. Yeah. So maybe let's cross over to this other issue concerning, you know, South African permits. These are permits, special permits that were obtained by Zimbabweans. There are roughly about 178,000 Zimbabweans under these special permits. And yesterday, Ng'abuto Mabhena of the Zimbabwe community in South Africa met with the South African Vice President David Mabuza and the King of Zulu. So they were discussing this issue, and the King of Zulu actually promised some other time back that he will hold a meeting with the South African authorities and these people that are from Zimbabwe to discuss this issue. So let's hear a little bit of what Mr. Mabhena said about this issue.
Yesterday, we had a meeting with the Deputy President of South Africa. This follows the presentation that we did to His Majesty, or King Makosonge II, in respect to the challenges around documentation following a decision by the South African Cabinet not to extend Zimbabwe exemption permits We've been engaging a number of organizations like the African National Congress, the government itself, trade unions like COSATU, unions affiliated to it, other social formations, civil society around the documentation of Zimbabweans. We felt it was necessary to also present our case to His Majesty so that His Majesty could assist us. Indeed, His Majesty then invited us so that we present our case to the Deputy President of South Africa, Honorable David Mabuza. We are not sure what is likely to happen, but the Deputy President promised to look into the issues that were raised. Because we all know that the majority of the holders of the Zimbabwe exemption permits are from Matebele land. There is a strong historical link between Amandebele of Zimbabwe and Amandebele of South Africa, and also the broader South African society.
So briefly, this is exactly what Mr. Ngqamoto Mapena said about the meeting, you know, that they held this meeting with Mr. David Mabuza, and all that they are looking for is the, you know, the way forward in terms of getting new permits, or maybe new visas and something like that. So there you are, Chunga.
Ndizvo tanzwapo mutungamiri wesangano reZimbabwe community in South Africa vaNqabuto Mabhena vachitaura kuti nezuro vakaita musangano pakati pesangano ravo nemutevedzeri wemutungamiri wenyika yeSouth Africa vaDavid Mabuza vachikurukura nzira dzavangakwanisa nadzo kuti hurumende yeSouth Africa ibatsire zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe zviri muSouth Africa zvanga zvichirarama nemagwaro eZimbabwe Exemption Papers kuti vange vachibvumidzwa kushanda nekudzidza nekurarama vari muSouth Africa. Saka vari kuti vanotarisirawo kuti dzimwe nguva zvichabatsira, asi tinonzwa kuti kune vamwe vakaita nzirawo yekuenda kumatare edzimhosva vachiedza kuti hurumende yeSouth Africa inge ichimanikidzwa nemutemo kuti inge ichipa zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe izvozvo ugaro kana yatingati permanent residence muSouth Africa, vachishandisa chikamu chemutemo chinoti kana munhu wakanga wagara munyika kwemakore anodarika 10 wave nekodzero yekuti unge uchipiwa permanent residence. Saka tichanzwawo kana takakwanisa kubata vesangano riri kuita divi rekuenda kumatare kuti tinzwe kuti vasvika papi nenyaya yeGibbs.
Sike sizwe ke ngesindebele ekhuluma khonokho ke umnumzana Mabhena
wasesho ke ukuthi hayi uzakhuluma ke lo mphathintambo wezangaphakathi ubaba uMthwelele bazwe izikhalo zethu ukuthi kuyinokungenziwa okwakhathesi usami khona phana ukuthi amaphemiti kavuselwe, kodwa kasikwazi ke kusiya phambili ngengxoxo lezo ezikhona ukuthi kuyini okuzaphuma. Yikho ke ebesikwenza izolo, kanti ke siyaqhubeka futhi sikhuluma lenhlangano eziningi eze-South Africa. Namhlanje sike sathintana the South African Council of Churches esicabanga ukuthi soba lo mhlangano labo maduze sikhulumisana nabo. Okwenza ukuthi sikhulumisane lenhlanganiso ze-South Africa labaholi kumbe namakhosi yokuthi udaba lolu longavuselela amaphemiti ludaba oluthinta labantu beSouth Africa singathi naba-progressive esilobu hlobo labo esiphila labo, ngoba esikubonayo imihla ngemihla yilabo abazibiza Put South Africa First, labo Action SA abagijima phambili abathi sibuyele emuva. Egameni le-solidarity bekungazwakali abamilathi abayizizalwane ze-South Africa ukuthi bayasekela njengoba sihlezi labo kuhle, ikakhulu abantu ababuya eMatebeleland kabaqali ukuza eSouth Africa namuhla. Abantu baqala ukuza eSouth Africa ngama-40s ngama-50s. Basuke lapha obaba labanewethu, labo mama labo dadewethu besiya empini yenkululeko besuka khona apha eSouth Africa. Abanye babo abafanana lo babo ngasekho emhlabeni uMakhathini Guduza ozala ongumongameli eMthwakazi Liberation Front babevele beku-committee ayinika lo ngasekho emhlabeni umongameli oqala uTata uMandela babemnika ukudla ngesikhathi ecatshile engasiwa eRobben Island. Bese kuba labafana lo baba uNkobi owebulilima owaba uTreasurer General we-African National Congress. Yikho-ke ubudlelwano bethu bukhulu, ubudlelwano esilamo. Yikho-ke nxa sekuyilesi sikhathi ngoba abantu abaningi abalama-permit babuya eMathebeleland, qakathekile ukuthi sikhumbule ingonyama yethu yamaNdebele, sikhumbule futhi esilobudlelwano labo ukuthi nantu udaba osoluhlupha la bese beseluleka lapha beluleka khona. Yikho-ke asikwazi ukuthi kuzaphumani, kodwa-ke hayi sisaxoxisana siyabona.
Yeah, so what Mr. Mapena is saying here is that they are using certain means to, you know, try to get some of these papers. And he says one of the ways is to actually engage the South African government, like what they did yesterday through Mr. Mabuza. And the other way of doing that is to engage cultural leaders. So he says maybe there is some kind of, you know, very deep relations between the South Africans and some people who are in Zimbabwe. So he says they may take advantage of that as well and use all means to get these papers instead of, you know, maybe rushing to courts and so forth. So he says at the end of the day, they're not sure what is going to happen about this issue, but they're trying by all means to get around this kind of a problem. So it's simply because he says most of the people who are holders of these papers are not eligible for any other visas. He says, you know, they are not engineers, they are not doctors, they are not scientists like nuclear physicists and so forth. So they may fail altogether to renew or to get new kind of visas.
Yeah. What I maybe will ask some of our guests is if these people will be eligible for asylum or political asylum. Because those are some of the questions that I'm getting from some people who are inquiring about this. These other means to stay in South Africa legally.
So let's see who we have right now. I think we've got our guests lined up. I think one of them is Mr. Sipho Ngulube, who is a holder of the permits, and the other one is Mr. Nhlanhla Moses Ncube. So let's start with Mr. Sipho Ngulube. Welcome to the program, Baba Ngulube.
Yabonga uDube linjani lonke studio.
Hayi siyaphila kakhulu, yeah. So siloba balapho uJonga Kanemeli. Jonga, maybe you can ask the first question.
I'm not sure whether Mr. Ngulube attended yesterday's meeting or he knows what came out of the meeting yesterday.
No, I didn't attend, but I've been following up all the proceedings.
Okay, thank you so much and welcome, Mr. Ngulube. Maybe you can explain to our listeners the benefits from such a meeting or from these meetings.
There are benefits. We need to engage the the stakeholders, all the stakeholders in the country, the government, the traditional leaders. But I think at this point we're a bit too late. We should have been doing this long time ago. But I know some of the leaders have been doing that. But the problem is there are some organizations who took the government to court. Those are the challenges. But I think the way the Mabenas and the other groups are doing, that's the way to go. We have to engage the government. We have to engage the Council of Churches, all stakeholders in the country, because we are in the country, we are beggars in this country, so we can't demand. We have to talk to the people in a nice way. That's the way to go.
Yeah, so akukutsho konke ngesintu ba.
Yebo bawadube ngithi njengani uJonge ebuza ukuthi kuyasisiza kuyasisiza but njengana ngisitsho ukuthi ngicabanga ukuthi lokhu sokungani sesilate but vele yindlela okufanele ukuthi ngabe siyisebenzisa ukuthi sikhulume labaphethe sikhulume labakuhulumende sikhulume labaphethe ngezenkolo sikhulume labaphethe ngezesintu amakhosi sincenge phela thina singabantu bemzini siyancenga akufanele nxa singabantu bemzini sifike sichaya umthetho wemzini wabantu kufanele sibahloniphe siguqe ngedolo sihlame ngedolo phansi sincenge kufanele ukuthi yindlela ebesiyenza leyo kodwa ngibona ngani sesilate ngoba kulabanye asebethethe uhulumende bamuse court so abathethe uhulumende bamuse court kusho ukuthi ngeyindlela sebemforce ukuthi uhulumende enze lokho abakufunayo kuyindlela engani embone ngani isenza singathandeki lapha ekhaya.
Yes, we also have Mr. Nhlanhla Moses Ncube. Mr. Ncube, how are you? I think Mr. Ncube has got some connectivity issues, or maybe he's there. Mr. Ncube, can you hear me? Very fine. Hold on, Mr. Ncube. I think you've been cut a little bit, but now I can see you. So go ahead, Mr. Ncube. Maybe Jonga pose a question to him there.
Yeah, Mr. Ncube, how are you?
I think he has got, yeah, okay. Ncube, we are saying about.
Yes, ngiyalizwa.
Oh, yeah, I can also hear you. Mr. Ncube, welcome to our show. There's this challenge that some Zimbabweans or some organizations in South Africa, they took the South African government to court over the Zimbabwe exemption papers, and some are seeing this as an impediment to what they are saying is supposed to be a mutual case or an issue that should not be politicized or taken to, for legal recourse. What's your take on this? Because some are saying, or those, the proponents, they are saying that if one stays in a country for 10 years, he's supposed to be eligible for permanent residence, and that's the course that they are trying to follow by going to court.
Thank you very much. This is, we are in a fix of a situation, if I may put it, because you find that you have been allowed by grace, but now you want to formalize it by law. It actually becomes a problem. When you are given amnesty, it means that there is something that you are not doing right and there is an amnesty. Then after the amnesty, for you to then turn back against the person who gave you amnesty would be disingenuous, as it were. So I think the mistake that we make is, you see caterpillars top of the tree, then you think of cutting the tree so that you get them. It tells you that the next year you will be in hunger and death, as it were. So I personally do not subscribe to the notion of going to the courts. Because the other thing is you need to have a social contract with the citizens as well. You should be welcomed by the citizens rather than the law. So it can be problematic to have the law being a friend of yours and then the citizens being not so much your friends, as it were. So I concur with what Mr. Mabena and others have been doing, and I thank them for that, to say we need to negotiate, and everything, even where there is war, you take the negotiation route. It usually brings the best results in most cases. Thank you.
Yeah, so ngesintu-ke akubeka khonokho sizitho ngathini ba?
Yeah, ngithi ke lapha sizithola siphakathi komumo onzima kakhulu ukuthi amaphepha siyawafuna, kumele siwathole. Abanye bethu ke bafuna ukuthi basebenzise umthetho ukuthi bawathole, kukanti ke thina abanye sicabanga ukuthi kufune ukuthi kukhulunyiswane, ngoba into yonke yenziwa ngokukhulunyiswana. Nxa umuntu kade ungalamaphepha wasekuxolela, wathi hayi othi sikunike leli phepha njengoba kade ungela then wena ke phambili umntwana nxa esekuphile suseqa susima lapha abazi inganekwane leyana ukuthi inyoka yayibanjwe lilitshe bayisusa ngicabanga ukuthi bayangizwisisa ukuthi nti nxa usukutshintsho kwinto lokhana ususiya emthethweni wena wawuxolelwe kumbe singathi ubuganga ngenye indlela akusahambi ngendlela ubuntu kabukuvumi khonoko ubuntu buthi utholakale lawe umikubi nxa abanye basebekuzwela bakumisa kahle nxa wena usumi kahle sufuna ukuthi abantu labana uthatheke izankosi babophe ngazo akuhambelani khona lokho njalo ukuhlala loma kungaphi akuhlalwa ngomthetho kuhlalwa ngokwemukelwa yilabo bantu bakuleyo ndawo okumele sikucele ke yikuthi abanikazi bendawo basivumele ukuthi sihlale yibo futhi abangasincengela umthetho ukuthi usivumele ukuthi sihlale singabi ngabantu abagamula isihlahla ngoba befuna amacimbi kuthi ukuthi ngomnyaka olandelayo labo bantu baza kufa ngendlala ngoba isihlahla secimbi nxa singasekho lecimbi kalikho kuthi ukuthi sokuyindlala ke yona leyo ngiyabonga
siyakuzwa kakhulu ke sicela ubambe lapho ke let's bring in Mr. Vusumuzi Sibanda. I think you can go ahead, Chunga. You've got Mr. Sibanda here.
Yes, Dr. Sibanda, welcome to our show.
Good afternoon, thank you.
Welcome. Dr. Sibanda, we understand there are some Zimbabweans who met yesterday with South African Deputy President, Mr. David Mabuza. And they were talking about the issue of Zimbabwe exemption permits. And your organization is also working on that, but going to court, taking the South African government to court. May you explain where your government is at the moment with that regards to Zimbabwe exemption permits?
Well, thank you very much. I think for us, what is very important, it's unfortunate that in our view, you see, from when the dispensation permits, real came in, there's always been people that say, look, they are the ones that have been negotiating to have these permits renewed. And which is obviously something that is neither here nor there. And the meeting that was held yesterday, for example, it was premised on saying, people that are in South Africa are mainly people from Matabeleland who fled, Kukura-Wundi, or who has got ancestors, that originated from South Africa. And even if they don't have direct parents, because citizenship can, be by descent by your direct parents, not your grandparents. So when you look at that narrative, in our view, it is a narrative that is fatal at law because there's no provision, for that. That's the first thing. Secondly, when you look at, the Deputy President Mabuza, he is part of the cabinet that made a decision that there shall be no more extension, of the permits, the ZTP permits. What essentially that means is the government has sat down after extending permits for 11 years and has come to a decision to say we are not going to extend them anymore. And then you want to say, no, we are going to go back to these people and beg them to change that. The government would look very stupid if they made a decision today and then unmake that decision. We know that this decision has been made because of a lot of South Africans and political parties who are extreme, right-wing, nationalists, who are saying now they want South Africa closed down. And the ANC now controls from the municipal elections only 46%, of the electorate, voted for the ANC. And, in 2016, it was, I think, about 56% or slightly more, which means it was still above half. And now they've gone down. So the reason why they decided they will not be extending these permits anymore, it is a political decision based on how they feel that they are losing in terms of, a popularity, mainly because of its position towards, migration. And the parties that have won, particularly Action SA and DA, have been very, vocal about, migration and keeping the borders tight. So the ANC is not going to backflip from that. Now, when you say you want people to try and negotiate, this is the position where we are now, where initially there was a court case which we were not really part of because some people had taken the matter to court to say, okay, they wanted a decision, to be made way before the announcement. So now we are fully fledged in the case now as the African diaspora and a lot of the ZEP holders that we've had meetings with. On Tuesday, we're going to have our first urgent court meeting following the decision of the 24th of November and the Directive 10 of 2021, which was issued on the 30th, which specifically says that the grace period of 12 months, it will only be applicable to those people who will show proof that they have applied for a visa in the mainstream by the 1st of January. And we are approaching the court on an urgent basis because we are saying from the 24th, when the decision was made, to the 31st of December, to start with, in order for somebody to apply for a mainstream visa, they will need a police clearance from South Africa and from Zimbabwe. A police clearance in South Africa takes about minimum 6 weeks, but it never 6 weeks. It takes up to 8 weeks. In Zimbabwe, if someone has to go and try and get that police clearance, there is now a lockdown. I mean, there is now mandatory, quarantine when you get into Zimbabwe, 10 days. And if you send money, I think, you send an application from South Africa, it's US $75. And the bulk of the people that we're talking about are people that really, at the bottom, of the food chain that cannot afford, those resources. And we as human rights, lawyers and activists, we are saying this is not possible. And the government has not really thought through this process properly because, number one, the time frame that it has given people to migrate to mainstream, visas is inadequate. Number two, it is impossible within 12 months because people that make applications for permits in South Africa, it takes up to about 12 months, 18 months. But to think that within 12 months, when the government was failing to deal with ZEP within a year, in 2017, some people ended up getting their ZEP permits at the end of 2018. So all these factors tell us that, this is going to be impossible to implement apart from the initial fact that says some of the people, the majority of the people that are holders of ZEP permits, when they were given the so-called ZEP, which is what a lot of people are forgetting. The minister made a statement on this, I think last week, Minister Mtsoaledi. He said that when they looked at the asylum seeker system or the refugee center, there were about 200,000 people in 2008 or so from Zimbabwe that were applying for asylum. So what they did is they took people from the asylum seeker system who ordinarily qualify for asylum and said, don't worry about this, I'll move to a special permit called the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit, without vetting these people to see who were genuine political asylees and economic asylees. Now, having done that, it means they deprived those people of an opportunity that are political asylees with a genuine case to have their issues determined in terms of, the international law on asylum seekers and refugees. And now all of a sudden they'll then say, go back. And the law is very clear about non-refoulement, that you cannot send someone back to a country where they fear for their life. So if we sit down and fold our hands and think that, people are going to negotiate, we have got people that are asylum seekers who cannot, if they are sent back, they may lose their lives. So at the end of the day, we have to come in terms of the law and ensure that the rights of all the people are protected.
Yes, siyakubona konke baba Sibanda, kodwa ke ngamafutshane ubona ngani khonokho kukhulunywa ngabantu ukuthi lina vele ngokwenlo laba abahambisa udaba lolu emthethwandaba babefuna ukuthi kunikwe i-permanent residence kwabanye abantu. So bathi kwakulomkantsho yini khonokho. Ngamafutshane sibunya kunikwa 1 minute sesingena kwabanye.
Umkantsho ukhona impela ngoba abantu sebelelungelo ngesigaba sokuthi bahleli kangakanani. Umuntu angakwenzela usizi njengoba besitsho ukuthi wenzela usizi, kodwa kukhona lapho sukube namalungelo ngoba umthetho uyakuvuma. Sonke silawulwa ngumthetho kukho konke sikwenzayo. Ingabe umuntu uyakudabukela eSouth Africa khona lapha kunabantu abaxotshwe emsebenzini beqhatshwe bengenamaphepha. Mawusuxotshiwe uqhatshwe ngenamaphepha, umqhatshi kufanele akukhokhele. Ngeke athi namhlanje ahambayo kumangalela athi awubotshwe ungasanikanga ilungelo loholo lakho. Ngumthetho osetshenziswayo kodwa usuke uqhatshwe ungenawo amaphepha, umuntu lo usuke kudabukele eqaleni.
Jonga maybe ungabuza ngasishona khona.
Yes. Yaiwa ndaida kungokumbira kuti vatsanangure kuti zvinhu zvakamira papi, tichiona kuti paita maboka maviri ari kurwira kuti vana veZimbabwe vange vachibatsirwa nenyaya yemagwaro eZimbabwe Exemption Papers. Kune vakasangana nemutevedzeri womutungamiri wenyika vaDavid Mabuza nezuro muSouth Africa nevamwe vakuru vemadzishe nemisangano renyu Dr. Swanda riri kuitawo nzira dzekuenda kumatare edzimhosva. Tingonzwa kuti maapapi uye kuti kune vamwe vari kugunun'una musina kuenda kumatare.
Ichokwadi ichocho, pane vanhu vari kugunun'una kuti aiwa mutemo haushandi, asi hapana chinhu chaunoita chisiri pamutemo pasi pane rino. Zvandangataura ndezvokuti muno muSouth Africa pane vanhu vanoshanda vasina mapepa, vanonzi vanhu vasiri munyika zviri pamutemo. Munhu iyeye akadzingwa basa asina kupiwa mari dzake kana kuti ma-employers ake akadaidza Home Affairs kuti imusunge nekuti hana mapepa, munhu iyeye ane kodzero yokuti aende kuCCMA anoti aiwa ndadzingwa ndisina kupiwa mari. Mutemo ndiwo unotomumiririra munhu iyeye kuti awane mari yake, hazvina basa kutanga achishanda asina mapepa. Saka chatiri kutaura iko zvino tine vanhu vakapinda munyika ino vari ma-asylum seekers, uyezve vanhu vagarisa vava nekodzero dzinovapa kuti vagonewo kukumbira kuti vave nechikumbiro chokuva vegare muno. Saka izvozvo hatigoni tingozviregera nekuti vanhu havagoni kuzvimiririra. Ndosaka patiriko zvinoti vakataura navaDavid Mabuza vanova David President, hationi kuti zvinobatsira, asi tati aiwa ngavaite zvavanodawo kuitawo, nenyaya yekuti vaDavid Mabuza ipart of cabinet. Cabinet ndiyo yakaita decision yekuti aiwa tichaextend, and pane zvinhu zvakaita kuti vasa-extenda, inyaya yepolitics kuti vanhu havachadi vanhu vanobva kunze kwenyika. Iko zvino vari kuti vanokumbira kuti aiwa ngavataudzane navo, asi pana naSouth Africa vana put South Africa first vanotogwa kuti havadi vanhu muno muSouth Africa. Saka kana vakabvumigwa kuti aiwa chigarai nekuti makumbira, ko ava veput South Africa first vari kugara vachimacha vachiti vanotogwa, vanenge vachida kuti vagare, vanenge vasingadi. Zvinongofanana nekuenda kukoti. Pane vanhu vakawanda vanototi aiwa vanhu vari kudzingwa ava havafaniri kudzingwa nekuti pavakapiwa mapepa aya papa nematambudziko muZimbabwe, matambudziko iwawo haasati achinja. Saka mako vadzosera nozvaita sei, ngavaregedzwe vagare. Saka panotori nemapato maviri vanoti vanhu ngavagare, vanoti vanhu ngavaende. Kuti titi kukumbira ndiko kuchaita vanhu vagare zvakanaka hachizi chokwadi ichocho. Chokwadi ndechekuti pane kodzero dzinoda kuti dzichengetedzwe dzevanhu vagara muno makore makumi ese aya, ezvokuti havangangodzingwi nhasi nemwedzi 12 zvonzi ngavabude nokuti tinoziva kuti havagoni kuwana mapepa ekugara muno.
Dr. Sibanda, ndisati ndakudzoserai kuna Gibbs, pane nyaya yekuti kune vagara vanga vachiita hurukuro nehurumende yeSouth Africa vachiita kuti nyaya dzemagwaro dzinge dzichibudirira. Imi maakuoneka sekunge maakuda kutokanganisa nhaurirano dzagara dzanga dzichiitwa nevamwe vanga vachiti zvava zvichibudirira. Munoti
ichocho hachizi chokwadi nekuti pane vanhu vagara makore ese panogara pachiitwa pachirinyiwa mapemiti avo vanenge vachifamba vachiudza vanhu kuti aiwa isusu ndisu tinomhanya mberi tonotaura nehurumende, ndisu tinoita kuti mapepa aya rinyiwe. Inhema idzodzo, vanhu vari kubira vanhu mari makore ese, tinogara tichigwa nevanhu vachibhadharisa vanhu mari kuti inzira yavo yekurarama. Zvigevengu izvozvi takatombozviripota kuti aiwa pane vanhu vari kuita zvisiri mumutemo. Vana chihuta vanga vachishanda nevanhu vakatoita pamba vakatobatsira vanhu mahara nekuti vanhu vaibhadhariswa ma350 kuti vaite maappointment chete. Saka tinoziva kuti pane vanhu vanoshandisa kusaziva kwevanhu vozviita ivo vanobatsira, ivo vachitobira vanhu. Ndo zvinhu zvakatoshata zvatiri kutorwisa iko zvino kuti aiwa apa pane kodzero. Hatisi kuda kutaura nezvinhu zvevanhu vari kuda kuti vaite kunge ndivo vana Jesu vari kubatsira vanhu, ivo vachibatsira vanhu, isu tichiziva kuti hapana zvavari kuita.
So ubambe khonapho ke Dr. Sibanda ungayikhatshana sizwe ke lapha ke ubaba uSipho Ngulube. Baba Ngulube sicela ukuthi ukhanye khonapha sikubone kuhle. Yes, sikubona ke baba. So ke what's your reaction to what Dr. Sibanda said?
Dube iyangimasi ukusho ngoba kuSibanda ngoba ama-facts awatshoyo wonke anje nangane atshelile ngoba uthi bamele abantu beZimbabwe, thina sinje khonapha sikaze sicontactwe not even one permit holder engiyaziyo abake bakhuluma laye ukuthiwa bayayirepresent ecourt. And nxa sithi yena ama-Zimbabweans amaningi asuka ku-asylum permit baya kuma-permit. I-asylum permit vele sasuka kiyo sonke, but siyakwazi sokuthi vele sasingafithi ku-asylum. 99% or 99.99% yama-asylum ama-Zimbabweans sasidinga umsebenzi kuphela, sasingabalekeli impi, sasingabalekeli i-political prosecution ekhaya. It can be a 0 point something abantu abalekela abale-true nasele ukuthi bafuna ama-asylum eSouth Africa. Okutshiwo kube khona kusaxolelwa nge-amnesty. I-amnesty siphiwa ama-asylum lawa, abanye babevele bengalama-passport, abanye babe ngama-asylum, abanye babelama ID eSouth Africa abathole ngendlela engayisiyo kwathiwa sarendani silixolele. So nxa bengayithathi yona leyo point yokuqala, that's the beginning point okumele siqase ngayo. Kuba kuhlungu ngoba kukhuluma abantu abafunde abagaxileyo sibili abagaxa amabhatha abamisleader phela ukumisleader the whole generation lo. Kubuhlungu lokhu du. Kubuhlungu kakhulu.
Yeah, ngesilungu ngathi na umphendule ngesilungu na.
I don't know how I can put it because I'm like feeling I know when you dream with your indigenous language. I'm feeling like I can't even say anything.
Yeah.
It's not presenting our facts in the right way. It's saying most of the Zimbabweans who migrated to permits were asylum seekers, genuine asylum seekers. I can tell you, most of us were asylum permits, but we're not genuine asylum seekers. About 99%, 99 point something percent of those people went for asylum permits because that was the easiest way of getting something to be recognized and stay and work here. We've got our kids using those asylum permits. We moved our kids from Zimbabwe to learn here with those asylum permits. But we were never threatened by anything. We were running away from the economic situation on the ground in Zimbabwe. And now they are saying they are representing us. They've never contacted us. We don't know anyone who has said they've been contacted by these organizations about they are representing us. Who are they representing?
Okay, thank you very much. Stay on the line. Let's bring in Chonga Kanamiri. Maybe Chonga, talk to Mr. Nhlanhla Moses Ncube about this particular issue. I think it's a pending issue, really.
Yes, maybe he was listening to both the previous speakers, and you know he's itching to respond. Go ahead, Mr. Ncube. I think he's on mute.
Go ahead, Ncube.
Thank you very much. You know, we are not saying that we are going to the east or we are going to the west, but we need to look at balance. What Sibanda is saying, Dr. Sibanda, some of his points, yes, can be taken into account. But I would like to bring him to the fact that this is a political issue, which was politically decided as it were. And even Action SA and other organizations are actually gaining massively through this thing, where they are saying foreigners must go. And I suppose that is a very dangerous narrative if it's to grow in Africa. So it is a political issue. You cannot run away from that. Then it is also a social issue, because if you are given a permit, you are having a neighbor that you must live with. At your workplace, you must have your colleagues that you live with. Unless you and them are in agreement about your existence, that will be disaster. It's also an economic issue to say people came here due to economic reasons and also political reasons. And even for people to refuse even to go, there is the economic aspect that is there. Then I would love to get to the legality part of it. All what we are saying is the way this thing started, it didn't start legally, because according to Dr. Sibanda, the implication is that if someone was here illegally, the person was supposed to be arrested, put in jail. But that did not happen. Now, that person who has given you the grace now, you want that person to be the one that is going to jail. It is a problem. We should, as human beings, in the spirit of Ubuntu, have this thing to say, let's sit down and talk about this. There is also a problem with these organizations that represent us in courts, because you will find that some people actually are actually seeking a mileage or political mileage, whether personal mileage or celebrity mileage out of this, which is a problem. And some of them might not even be affected directly by these things. So they need to, like, I like what Ngulube is saying, to say people should talk to those who are affected. Then we pave the way to say, what do we require to be done? But this top-down approach by Sibanda and others, I think it's counterproductive. Thank you.
Yes, and Sibanda was here, but I cannot see him anymore. I think he's coming back very shortly. Maybe is because of the network issue. So briefly, ungathi ngesintu Baba Ncube ngakhonokho ke ukukhulunywa ngoSibanda.
Ngesindebele ngingathi mina ubaba uSibanda kukhona okunye akutshoyo okuzwayo ukuthi loba osuhleli elizweni ye umthetho uyangena. Kodwa ke indlela uSibanda kubeka ngayo wenza angathi vele kumele kuphilwe ngokuthi kuyiwa emthethweni. Njalo uthi yena uyala ukuthi into le yinto elozombangazwe. Ngoba into le isetshenziswa zinhlanganiso ezila ezinye sezithola usekelo ngokuthi zithi khona amaZimbabweans awaxotshwe ngaleyo ndlela. So ke futhi ke ngithi mina ingenisa futhi lokudlelwano lento ukuthi lapho hlala khona kumele ukuthi umakhelwane wakho akwemukele livumelana ukuthi ngumakhelwane wami sihleli sonke emsebenzini kumele ukuthi khona abantu bakwemukele. Lokho kwenziwa ukuthi lizwisisane ukuthi ubukhona bakho lapha yinto yokuthi ulohlupho olukhona. We should be spending isikhathi sethu ngabe sisichitha entweni ezifana lalezo ngoba nxa usithi usume ngokomthetho kwelinye icele futhi ngikubona kulohlupho kakhulu.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Sibanda, it's your chance now to respond.
In English.
Yes, in English, briefly, and then yes.
Look, I think, for example, if you look,
be conscious of time. Time is up.
Okay. If you look at what Mr. Ngulube said and what Mr. Mapena was saying, they clearly say that a lot of people ran away, you know, from Matabeleland because of Kukura wound, and now they are saying the issue is not political but economic, and people don't qualify for economic reasons. We are on the ground. We are in court every day because of illegal immigrants, people that are arrested, and we have got xenophobia that we are in court every day to fight. And the National Action Plan, which tells us that people ordinarily from Zimbabwe are not acceptable in South Africa. There is a very huge hatred towards Zimbabweans in any case. And if we are going to neglect that and say people are living today and they are going on to beg, as they are putting it, but they know that Zimbabweans are not likable, and all crime now is being attributed to Zimbabweans. So what we are simply saying in a nutshell is basically that, look, we will have different views. We know that the political decision that has been taken by government right now is based on, you know, numeric, I mean, it's empirical evidence that the ANC is losing support, and they will not back down on that because the cabinet has made. And the only way we can do that is to approach the courts, because the Zimbabweans that are affected here in terms of the South African Constitution, Section 33, which is, you know, judicial review of decisions taken by organs of state and the promotion of just and administrative action, like any other person, they are entitled to have the decisions taken to court, so that if they are not properly taken, then a remedy must be put in place. So that is why we are simply saying, if people talk about a top-down approach, even if we had not been informed by people, as an organization, we would have gone to the courts to protect the rights, because this is a public interest issue. But unfortunately, over the weekend, we had a meeting on Zoom where there was over 200 people that could join Zoom when many people cannot afford. That made the decision, they've signed a petition that they want that matter in court. So this is informed by the people.
Yeah, Jonga, briefly.
Yes. Ndokumbira ngoti vangoti muchidimbu 30 seconds kungotsanangura zvamamuchitaura nerurimi rweshona.
30 seconds.
Zvatikuta ndezvokuti vanhu vemuZimbabwe vagara havadikanwi pano. Panotori nenyaya yekuti vanodzingwa, ndo vanopedza mabasa, vanotora vakadzi vedu, saka havadikanwi pano. Saka vari kuti ivo kutaura ndiko kuchaita kuti vanhu vadikanwe pano, hachizi chokwadi ichocho. Iko zvino vari kunokumbira asi vachiziva kuti pane vanhu vasingavadi. Isusu chinotinetsa pane kodzero, uye kodzero idzi dziri mubumbiro remutemo. Saka kodzero dzevanhu idzodzo tinosungirirwa kuti dzichengetedzwe, kuti vanhu ava vanobva kuZimbabwe vagare muno zviri pamutemo kana mutemo uchivatendera. Hatigoni kunyarara tichiregedza izvozvo nekuti pane vanhu vari kutya kuti tevedzere mutemo, nekuti mutemo ndiwo unototi tungamira pane zvizvo zvatinoita.
Thank you very much. On that note, we end our show today. We thank our guests this evening, Dr. Vusi Sibanda of the Africa Diaspora Forum, Mr. Nhlanhla Moses Ncube, a social commentator, Mr. Sipho Ngulube, who is a holder of a special permit and is based in South Africa, and Mr. Ngqabutho Mapena of the Zimbabwe community in South Africa. Signing off from Maryland, this is Gibbs Dube saying good night, Zimbabwe.
Neni Jonga Kandemiri ndiri Maryland zvakare ndoti murari zvakanaka vateereri musakanganwa kuramba muchitevera nekutsigira zvirongwa zvestudio 7.
Good night.